Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Gonna bring you some more ICC 5-minute pool action. Before I get started, actually, I'm trying to still figure out the right balance between playing and talking. The 5-minute pool is pretty difficult because I'm not really choosing my opponents. I'm just waiting on a queue and I get varied opponents, and because of that. Sometimes they're super strong, and most of the times they're actually pretty good quality. But I have to be really. I do want to win the game, but I also do want to comment on the game, and I'm just trying to find that right balance. So we're gonna see how that develops. Yeah. So I'm gonna click on this queue, and now I'm waiting on the 5-minute pool. Yeah, there was actually a really great match today. Actually, earlier today, Nakamura Carlsen played this chess.com match, and Carlsen really was on his game. Not so much where he was getting opening advantages or anything like that, but he just sort of wiped the floor in sort of the areas where you're trying to be tenacious and things like that. So it was impressive. Anyways, okay, I'm black. I'm going to go e5. I'm going to respond to e4, e5, maybe get double king pawn, knight c6, typical. d4 is the Scotch game. This is a very popular a few decades ago, but Kasparov actually brought some of it back. It actually became quite a popular line. After e takes d4, knight takes d4 is typically played. Now we have a gambit with bishop c4, and man, oh man, I must say I really don't like gambits. I'm going to go bishop c5. Knight f6 is the Scotch gambit, and then you'd go d5 if e5. But in this position after c3 right now, my rule with gambits and double king pawn is never accept the second pawn. That's my rule. Never accept the second pawn. This gets you into trouble. So I gave back the pawn, and now I transpose to normal lines. So after bishop b4 check, bishop d2 comes, and I can take, and then knight takes or queen takes, and then I go d5, breaking up that center. Very important move. If d5 was not a possibility here, I'd be in trouble because white would just have this really unopposed center. So now I should be okay. After e takes d5, knight takes d5, castles, and now I'm set. Now I have a perfectly playable position. Rook c1, and I can actually play against the Isolani here. This Isolani on d4. I'm going to go knight b6, and my idea is just to try and take that light squared bishop, which is sort of gunning down on my f7 pawn, and simultaneously attacking the d4 pawn. So bishop b3 is played, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a pawn. Maybe not, because then my c7 pawn would be hanging at the end. What to do? Well, never hurt anyone to keep developing, so I'm going to go bishop g4. I don't know if that's the best move, to be honest, but it just develops. It gets me closer to connecting my rooks. And these are all things that are really important when you're playing. h3, I don't want to take this right away. I'm just going to go bishop h5 and keep the pin. I think I should be okay. I'm not better, but I'm not worse. Rook c5, I did not see that coming. So now I pretty much have to drop it back to g6. It's a very unusual move to have the rook on the 5th rank like that. So we're on rook e1. Okay. Man, I'd love to connect my rooks, but also keep the pressure on the d4 pawn. That's really would be great. So I'm thinking queen d6, maybe queen f6. I'm gonna go queen d6. It looks good enough to me. And then I'm actually threatening knight takes d4, with the idea of actually hitting the c5 rook. This pawn has been hanging for a while, this d4 pawn, but I just did not like the rook coming to the 7. Okay, knight e4 I missed. Knight e4 I missed. That's a good move. I really don't want to give up my bishop in this situation, but I might have to do it. You know what? No, I'm not going to give it up. My bishop is too important to give up. I really did not like Queen d6 was a bit of a mistake. I maybe was a little bit too excited with queen d6. This guy learn 2 is playing all right. d5, very principled move. Now that I've sort of made this mistake of losing a tempo, I don't want to move my knight because then knight e5 comes, and it's a very good move. So I'm actually going to go bishop takes e4, and it's kind of counterintuitive. Like I could have done it on the last move, why I'm doing it now. The idea is that now I'm actually going to go with this in-between move, queen d6. And the point is that now that this d5 move has been played, at least the bishop on b3 is shut out a little bit by its own pawn, so it's not exerting as much pressure on the f7 diagonal. So because of that, I thought it'd be a little bit clever to do. But queen c2 is good. This guy's playing pretty well. And I still have this problem of this knight here. But you know what? I'm going to go knight a... Oh, no, I can't even go knight a5. Yikes. Gotta move the knight somewhere. I guess knight e7. But it's not a move you want to make, this knight e7. Now rook takes c7. Oh, okay, rook takes c7 wasn't played. What's the idea? Knight d4, maybe knight f5 is come on in the cards. I'm going to go rook c8. Knight b5 is super strong now, actually. Knight b5. Yep. I'm going to go queen g... Ah, I just blundered my knight. Just blundered the knight. Yeah, it was not a great way to start. I'm going to resign this one, but really not a good start. It's really interesting to see why I didn't work out, and basically it didn't work out because all these pieces were flooding my queen side and even a little bit of my king side a few moves ago before I was able to get my pieces fully coordinated. So if we go back to the opening, back over here, this is all theory actually, and castles. Rook c1. I mean, I didn't necessarily mind knight b6, and maybe it was better to just play something else. Maybe just develop the bishop. I just liked knight b6, just pushing the bishop back. But yeah, there's this annoying pressure on my c7 pawn. Quite frankly, I was not able to coordinate appropriately. Maybe bishop e6 is a move here. I don't know, getting the bishop off the diagonal. But needless to say, my bishop got kicked around, then my queen got kicked around, and then I never quite got into the game. And when you're going backwards, it's not a good sign. So we'll be better this game. Okay, we're gonna play some Italian. All right, so I'm gonna play d4, my bread and butter. Knight f6, knight f3, e6. I'm gonna go g3. I'm just gonna play a little bit of a quiet game, fianchettoing the bishop, and this may transpose to a terrace, which it looks like, where black tries to attack the center with the pawns right away, and I sort of just keep developing. Typically against the terrace, you want to create an isolated pawn, but I have my own ideas here. So yeah, this is something I actually cooked up at home a few years ago. And by cooked up at home, I mean I prepared this one actually a long time ago. I think 3 years ago with the engine. And yeah, knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6 is going to come. And actually c5 here is a weird idea, but the point is my knight on f3 now has a future, hopefully, on the d6 square. So I'm going to relocate it to d2, then to e4 or c4, and then to d6. And it's a little bit annoying for black to deal with. Especially with this bishop on g2 barreling down on the long diagonal. It's a little bit of a tricky position to deal with. Typically when I'm playing on ICC, I'm not sort of showing preparation, but I don't think the idea is so great, and it's a bit old. So yeah, you're getting something from from the novelty shop, you can say. And yeah, this guy's never seen it before, which is good. Hopefully, I can keep my time advantage while talking. Yeah, D3, interesting. Okay, so B2 is being hit. Okay, so that's the idea. Huh. Strong idea. I really don't want to lose the B2 pawn, so I'm going to go knight C4. Now I would suspect queen D4 is going to be played. Yeah. And I'm going to go queen takes D3. And now at least I lose the C5 pawn. If I lose C5 pawn, I might have a little bit more of a lead in development. But it's tough to say. I'm going to go queen C3. I was hoping that I could sort of get control of the D file before black is fully developed, but I'm not so sure anymore. And now knight D4 is a good move, hitting the E2 pawn. Okay, rook B8. Definite idea with B5. So the question is here: do I hit the knight right away, or do I go like rook A D1? I'm gonna hit the knight right away with E3. Now I guess the knight would go. I don't know. Knight C6 is a little bit awkward. Knight F5 I don't like either, because now I think I can take control of the file. So I'm gonna go rook D1. You might say, why rook E D1 and why not rook A D1? Well, the thing is that this other rook can go to C1. And so, essentially, we don't want the rooks. We both want the rooks to be at maximum utility. So, in the most effective places. Bishop D7. Okay. Really important that I control this E file. The files here, the C file and the E file. So it's tricky to figure out how to do that. I'm going to go with knight A5. And the idea is just to hit the B7 pawn while also trying to trade queens. And I'm hoping that the pin on the D file should be enough to create some pressure here. Because my bishop on G2 is exerting a lot of influence on this diagonal. And my queen, if the queen's off the board, I might be able to put some pressure on on black's queenside pawns. So, yeah, just trying to go for an edge. And so queen b6, that makes sense. Definitely makes sense. And, yeah, it's a tricky position. Hmm. I'm going to knight c4 back. Queen b6 is a pretty annoying move. Queen a6. Wow, okay. Yeah, I maybe should have gone knight e5 right away. I think I might have botched that. Now bishop e8. Black is sort of solid. But I don't know, maybe queen c7. Queen c7 looks very annoying right now. Now I feel like I'm maybe infiltrating. Now I'm hitting the d8 rook. Okay, queen b6, that's a victory. That's a small victory, because now I can trade. And I can win a pawn here, but at what cost? It's at the cost that I lose control of the file. If I take on d8, I take on b7, I lose some control. Not ideal. Go king f1. I really don't want to lose control of the d file, so I'm not gonna just pawn grab on b7. f6, okay. Knight c4. I just walk right into a pin. Probably should not have done that. But at least b3 holds up my my knight for the time being. I'd expect knight d6 now. Yeah. Rook c1. Yeah, unfortunately I walk right into this pin that does not help me whatsoever, so that was not good, or not smart. I think I can still draw this ending, but the pawn down ending was not the goal, the desired goal from this position. So, poor play, too many mistakes. Black's extra pawn is a doubled pawn, which definitely helps my cause, though. And king c7 was a blunder, because now I hit the g7 pawn. I'm not going to really talk too much for the rest of the game. I don't want to flag here, but I'm definitely not going to lose this game anymore, so that's nice. And I might win it, actually, because, like I said, his extra pawn's a doubled pawn, and he has to be smart about how he's going to do this. Yeah, and black is actually messing this up big time. Now I'm just going to make myself a queen. I flagged. Two queens and I could not finish the deal. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, basically in this game, if we just look at it really quickly, this is sort of like a tearish where black is playing pawn e6, d5, and c5, just trying to hit my center really quickly. And really the counter to that for white is just to keep developing. If white develops the pieces, which I did, I have a slight lead in development. Normally that's enough for a slight advantage. And then here, in this position, right here, after rook d8, maybe knight d2 was a little bit of me being on cruise control, because d3 was an annoying move to see. I probably could have made a useful move first before going knight d2, but anyways, knight d2, d3, and yeah, right around here I have a little bit of an advantage because all my pieces are developed, and I have a little bit more control over the center. My knight on c4 controls important dark squares like d6 and e5, and my bishop is on the long diagonal, so I have slightly better minor pieces than black. And knight a5 is probably not a good move. I probably should have gone knight e5, like I wanted to do later. And after knight e5, I was thinking, queen takes e3, b takes e3. I have these weakened pawns, split pawns. But I don't know. At least I'm exerting pressure on the d7 bishop. and I think I should have an edge there. Instead, I sort of botched it up, and then I managed to get a pawn down rook endgame, which was also a bit instructive because I had to sort of stand pat for a while, and unfortunately I was able to attack this pawn, and he couldn't defend it, and so I had a good shot at even winning the game. But your pawn down rook endgames are very important to learn how to defend those. But anyway, enough analysis. It's not so healthy to analyze your blitz games, but it's not really for personal. I'm not doing it for personal use. I'm just giving the analysis so that it's helpful to the viewers out there. So yeah, but I definitely felt more comfortable this game than the last game. I was definitely a little bit more in my wheelhouse in terms of as far as openings are concerned, and that's always important to get positions that you're pretty comfortable with. Yeah. So now we're waiting on this queue. I think I hit 5 already. So we'll see who comes up. Yeah, some people asking me, don't you care about your rating in the 5-minute pool? Like you're just losing rating, talking and losing games. And to be honest, I used to be a 5-minute pool player like religiously, but now I actually care more about 3-minute. I feel like 3-minute is like the new 5-minute, you could say. It's like the new Blitz. And so, yeah, I don't really mind it too much. So, anyways, I cannot pronounce this German guy's name. So, I went d4 last time. I'm going to go e4 this time. Let's just switch it up. King, pawn, c5, Sicilian. So, one thing you know about Sicilian is it usually is pretty sharp. I'm not that type of guy that's like sharp chess. I'm going bishop e5 check. And the reason for that is I have this philosophy that if you do the little things right over and over again, good things happen. And I believe that if you sort of, do the... I feel like if you do the spectacular, it doesn't always work. It's tough to get the spectacular right over and over again. So because of that, yeah, I typically don't go for the sharpest stuff. I just want to get my pieces out and then assess how I'm going to continue from here. So right now, that's what I'm doing. All my pieces are well placed. I guess I have rooks on c1 and d1. I have good position in the center. And now the difficult question is what to do next. And I'm just going to double my rooks. I don't even know if it's effective, but it's never hurt anyone to double their rooks. So, queen g5, interesting. I'm going to go knight f3. I think the idea was to sort of play knight f4. And now I'm just kicking the queen away. Queen h5. Knight f4 still looks a little bit annoying, so I'm going to go queen e3 just to stop any ideas with knight f4. h6, okay. I'm going to go knight a4. The idea is just maybe to tickle with knight b6, hit the rook. I also have e5 ideas. Knight e8 is definitely a move I'm glad to see, because now I can go knight b6. And I think I'm getting a little bit more space, which I want. But maybe my knight is not so good on b6. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go back. I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it had anything going on there. Yeah, knight b6 was a bit of a waste of time. It's tricky here because, yeah, this is a good move, b5, hitting at my my pawn. And this is a classic minority attack plan by black. So white has a bit better control of the center, and white had a pawn majority on the queen side. So to counteract that, black starts to try and push the pawn and create this pawn minority. Bishop f6. Go knight d4. try to win that b5 pawn. I think this is good for me because now if I can get that bishop, ugh. Did I blunder again? Oh, no, this knight on c6 is hanging. This rook on c6 is hanging. So my queen has to move, that's fine. So I'll go queen e2. And I attack the queen. So I get out of the fork and I attack the queen at the same time. So that's a small victory for me. And after queen takes c2, I'm going to go rook d takes c2. And I'm going to pre-move that. Yep, so that happens. And now this rook has to move and the b5 pawn is attacked. So I think I didn't blunder anything, although at first sight it looked like I did. So I'm going to take the pawn, and with this rook, I'm going to take the pawn with the d knight, not the c knight. And the reason for that is I want my d1 rook to be opened and unleashed against the d6 pawn. And I think in that way I can get some really annoying pressure on a potentially backward pawn. So yep, so I'm going to take that. Thank you very much. And I'm in good shape. Knight f4, okay. I'm going to go rook e1. Just move back. Just chill. And bishop f6, I expected that. The idea from black now is to play rook takes b5, so I'm going to play a4 to just overprotect my knight. This is also expected. Rook c8. No rook e3. A little bit awkward move to make, but I think it gets the job done. I just need to get my bishop off this pin, the pin diagonal right here. This bishop on b2 is being pinned by the bishop on f6, and if I can play bishop a3, then there are no more pins, and I'm fine. Rook takes b5. Okay, I didn't see that. What happens if I take with the a pawn? Oh, there's this tactic on e2, this forks. I think there's a flaw in this plan though, and it's not. My b pawn is pretty far advanced. So if I take on c3 twice, and rook, and then gives me this check on e2, and I go king f1, I think b6 will queen the pawn. I don't think black has time to stop it. So let's see if I'm right. Knight e2 check. King f1, and then b6. And I wonder, I don't think this pawn can be stopped, because after b7 and then b8, there's really nothing that this pawn is just too far advanced. So it's a good try with this tactic, but you know, past pawns must be pushed, and I don't know who said that, or let me get out more pawn cliches. Pawns are the soul of chess. I think that was Philidor, but I'm not a chess historian, so don't quote me on this. And this guy's messaging me saying, lucky loser. Oh, we have a bitter German in the building. Oh well. I'll take it. Yeah, so basically just a miscalculation on black's part. But the truth of the matter is I was up a pawn, a very important pawn here, and I think I actually missed an idea. After bishop f6 right here, I can actually go e5. Very important move, actually. And then after, and I can just sort of clear the way with rook takes d8, and yeah, I had opportunities here, but it's just a tough way to lose. I mean, I can see why he's a little bit upset. You know, I lose my rook. He's up 2 knights, but he can't stop this pawn. Yeah. All right, new game. e4. I'm gonna go e5. And d6. I'm gonna go for the Philidor since I was at the Philidor defense. I was saying pawns are the soul of chess. Now we're gonna see. The Philidor defense is sort of a second-rate opening, but you just get playable. The reason it's a second-rate opening is because you lack space. You basically say, white, take this space from the onset, and I'm gonna try and beat you back with my pieces and my counterplay later on. And you know, look at controlling the center is a burden. You know, like when you have a center, you have to do stuff with it, and so in that sense, it could be tricky. I have a slight structural disadvantage with this knight c6 trade. After knight takes c6, b takes c6, I have these double pawns. But the good thing about these double pawns, they actually do exert some pressure on the center. So they control the d5 square, so that's fine. Bishop e6, okay. I'm going to go knight d7. Now that b3 was played, I'm going to try and put my bishop on this diagonal so that the bishop on b2 is pinned. And I'm probably still a little bit worse. I mean, white has more space, but at the end of the day, my pieces aren't so poorly placed, and so I think I'm in a prime position to get back at River Beauty. So yeah, so I'm going to go rook e8 here. I'm slowly but surely getting all my pieces. And now I'm going to go knight to c5. Oh, bishop. Okay, that's interesting. Queen, bishop g4. Okay, so I'm going to go knight c5. And I presume black's going to take. Yeah, takes. And I guess I'll take with the rook. And yeah, I have some annoying pressure. Because now I can go d5. And the point is that this pin is very annoying on b2. Very, very annoying. And now he actually undoubled my pawns for me. Thank you very much. And I still have really active pieces, so I think I'm doing really well. Go queen d6. Just trying to get all my pieces in the game. And then rook e8. Control the file. The open e file. And I'm lacking a little bit of coordination because I wish my rook didn't have to scoot to the side and I was still doubled, but again, the one open file is mine, so that's very good. Very good news. White does have a slightly better pawn structure because I have, in theory, because I have 3 pawn islands and black has 2. But when you look deeper, you see that I actually have more space in the center with my pawns, so I think I still have a serious advantage. And this pawn on f3 definitely would love to be back on f2 because now that whole diagonal from a7 to g1 is weak. So that's definitely something I'm looking at. So rook d1, play c6. I'm just going to cover everything, and then I'm going to infiltrate on the second rank. Get my rook into e2, and then say, what are you going to do about it? Also might want to make some room for my king at some point. It's always important to just make sure you don't get back rank mated. Okay, so rook d2 is trying to cover that. Space. And I'm going to go rook e1. And the point is that white can't even take because it would be mate amazingly otherwise. So I think I'm in pretty good shape. I feel really good about this position. Maybe it's not so good that I wasted. Maybe it was good that I didn't waste a move on h6 because if I did waste a move on h6, I wouldn't have this resource. Okay, so g3. Okay. I'm gonna go h6. Yeah. Just chill. And now that the king's on g2, I'm just going to play rook e2 and pin. So instead of taking on f1, I could have done that. I think the pin is pretty good. Just hit this rook on d2. I'm coming in slowly but surely. I think I'm coming in, or that's the goal at least. Rook d1. Okay, now I'm gonna go queen c3. Just slowly creeping in, closer. All my pieces are really well placed, so I didn't want to move my knight away or move anything away. I just want to creep up a little closer. And then a blunder. King f1 loses sight of that f3 pawn, so now I can take it. And now actually I'm threatening mate in 2. Tactic, rook takes f2. Well, No more red. Rook takes f2 a move ago, and then queen h1 would have been mate. Oh, wow, and River Beauty just resigned. It's tough because I'm now going to go rook takes e2, and there's no way to effectively defend the f2 knight. So we'll take it. It's always funny when your opponent resigns on your move. You know, it's like they're seeing the impending danger. Okay, let's go English opening. c4, e5, g3. This is the English. It's like a reverse Sicilian almost. After c6, they're trying to go d5 really quickly, so you're supposed to go d4. And then e4, I can go d5. I don't want black to play d5. Okay. Bishop d2, bishop e4, bishop d2, queen e7, go knight c3, just develop. Now you might say, isn't the d5 pawn hanging if bishop takes e3? And actually, no. If bishop takes e3, I could take back my bishop, and the queen is protecting it. So that's sort of the good news. A little bit unusual developing the knight to h3, though. But anyways, d6, I'm going to just castle. Castling never hurt anybody. Never did. And actually, now that d6 was played, the b4 bishop is actually a bit loose. So I'm going to play knight takes e4. And the point is that yeah, my knight is hanging, but so is the bishop. And then if bishop takes d2, I can play knight takes f6 check, and then queen takes d2. So unprotected pieces are always something to look out for. And my opponent definitely missed one of them here. Oh, except he went deeper than I did. Now my king is vulnerable after queen e4 check. Wow. So I'll just show it just to be instructive. After king takes g2, queen e4 check, and then my bishop's hanging and I have to resign. Whoops. Yeah, blunders happen. So I actually should have just, done something else. Well, oh well. Oh well. That's a pretty quick resignation. 13 moves. Wow. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I try to have one short resignation per video. So definitely not the way it was supposed to be drawn up. So I actually did hit 5 minutes, so we're still waiting on the queue. And yeah, when has happened lately? Yeah, well, let me talk about basketball because I do love basketball. Russell Westbrook beat the 76ers in a game that was pretty interesting, being it was the first game without Kevin Durant. His sidekick is the dude that left him for Golden State in the offseason. So a bit surprising. It was extremely surprising that it happened. The game was actually interesting because the Thunder now with this new luck Thunder without Durant and with Westbrook leading the charge, we're playing the 76ers who've just been losing a ton of games every season and just stashing number 1 draft picks. And finally, their number 1 draft pick or the first round pick, who's like number 3, I think, from years ago, Joel Embiid finally managed to get on the floor. He'd been injured for 2 years. People were saying he was another bust. But man, he looked good last night. This guy's like nearly 7 feet with post moves, and it's fun to watch. Very fun to watch. So I think the 76ers might be an interesting team to look at, even though they're not going to win. They're not going to make the playoffs or anything. Just a team with a bunch of young stars that, maybe one day will have the chance to be great. In other news, what else has been going on? Oh, I guess the game is saving me from my other commentary. E4. I'm gonna go C5. We're gonna get a Sicilian. I'm gonna go for the Najdorf. This move will come with D6, and if D4, yep, C takes D4, Knight takes D4, Knight F6, Knight C3, and A6. And this is the start of the Sicilian Najdorf, the sharpest opening in chess. And he's playing the Fischer Sozin set, which is Bishop C4. And you almost have to automatically go E6 because that bishop is exerting way too much pressure on F7, so you have to pretty much go do that. And yeah, then I'm going to go B5 and Knight D7. And I'm pretty much just going to try to get this bishop as quickly as possible. So F3, I don't think that's such a great move. It sort of is passive. Usually when you play a set, you're supposed to be super active. So I'm not a huge fan of that move. And I do want this bishop on b3, but the thing is I can actually take it whenever I want, because it's there. But now that he played a3, I might think about dropping it back. I'm going to take it now. Knight takes b3, and then castle. Oh, I should have played bishop b7 first. I allowed knight c6, but fortunately my opponent didn't play it. Thank gosh. Queen g3 is an interesting move, maybe threatening bishop h6. And because of that, I'm going to go rook e8. Because of bishop h6, I wanted to be able to play g6. So king h1, and now bishop f8. These are sort of like standard moves in this position. Although maybe bishop f8 was premature, because now bishop g5 is sort of an annoying pin. Okay, that didn't happen. I am thankful. I'm gonna go rook c8. If you didn't play bishop g5 on this move, why would you play it on the next move, right? Isn't that sort of reasonable logic? If he didn't do it this time, he won't do it the next time. And yeah, he didn't do it. And now bishop g1. I guess the idea is to play f4 and e5, but very suspicious. Go queen d7. Connect my rooks. And f4 is a very double-edged move. Yeah, I was sort of sitting on f4, wanting it to happen, because now my idea actually is to play rooks take c3, and that's an exchange sacrifice. But the idea is this light-squared bishop is, after I secure the pawn e4, is totally unopposed. And, I mean, it's probably not the... I mean, exchange sacrifices, you know, they are sacrifices. But now that this bishop comes to e4, maybe the knight, I haven't decided yet. But it's basically a monster. It's not really opposed by anything. It's bearing down on g2. Just a really, really strong piece. And someone once said a bishop and pawn is worth a rook. You know, if you have some initiative or something like that. I don't know who said it, but very true here. Rook c1, okay. Trying to trade queens, really. But I'm going to go queen b7. And the idea is now I'm actually threatening checkmate on g2. I have the audacity to threaten checkmate in this position. So I think knight f3 has to be played. But it's definitely not a move that you want to make. And I think black has pretty much great compensation here. So knight f3, I'm just going to go h6 just to cover my king. Give it, you know, like we said in the last game, just give it an escape square. And queen c7, I expected this, but I'm not trading queens. I'm just going to go queen a8. And my queen is perfectly safe. It's still exerting pressure on the diagonal, and there's just no targets that black can exploit, that white can exploit here. So really, really effective. Okay. Queen e5, or queen c3. Okay, I'm going to go bishop e7. I'm just taking my time, improving my pieces. Queen d2, okay. Hmm. Go knight d5. I need a little bit more control, a little something else. I need him to make another mistake just so I can sort of break through. I don't want to trade my rook because then, and that's the mistake I'm looking for. Queen e2 blunders the f2 pawn, and now I can take it because my queen on a8 is now protecting the bishop on e4 after a move. And yeah, I didn't see that, so now I get his queen. Yeah, so he resigned. And that was sort of an interesting game because at the very least, the exchange sacrifice changed the dynamics of the game and essentially forced White to sort of be on the defensive for a little bit. And wow, I've actually been challenged by this guy again, but I'm going to decline because I think that's it for this video. But just to recap this game for a second, Sicilian defense, very sharp. This is the basis of the Najdorf right here after a6. And after bishop c4, e6 is played again because the bishop is bearing down on this f7 pawn, and you really can't allow that sort of pressure on your king. The thing is, now the bishop's sort of blunted, and so typically White gets quick development of castling and then tries to go f4, f5 and break open this diagonal. The problem is after b5, bishop e3, knight b7, he actually played f3, and it's not congruent with the plan that is demanded of this position. So yeah, now after f3, there isn't really much of an attack. And I did make a mistake here at bishop e7 because you don't want to give up your dark colored bishop. I should have gone bishop b7 first. I allowed this knight c6 move. I'd know better if it was a much slower game. Blitzing out the moves, you make mistakes like this. And yeah, I got this bishop. I have the bishop pair, which we know to be a valuable asset. And basically for nothing. I mean, and then after f4, I was sort of sitting on this move because I wanted to sacrifice the exchange with rook takes e3. The point being that after black recaptures, I get a very important central pawn, and I get very strong pressure on the whole diagonal against the king. And here I don't think I'm winning or anything, but the point is that I have this annoying pressure that White sort of has to just bear and deal with. And so I basically, after that, just sat on the position until White made a mistake. And that's sometimes what the exchange sacrifice can do. You put pressure on your opponent, and eventually they break because the dynamics of the game have changed once the material is uneven in some way. So, yeah. Anyways, that'll wrap up this edition, and hopefully some of you guys learned something from it. And yeah, be back next time. Thanks.